So I am still in full-on summer mode around here, but I can't help but get real excited as the nerdy homeschool mom that I am when all of these packages start arriving. I'm Rian, Christ-following wife and stay-at-home mom to 4 sweet boys. I'm growing and learning how to glorify Christ as a wife, mom, homemaker, and teacher, so come and grow and learn with me. I am Mama on Mission. Now, as a Sabbath schooler / year-round homeschooler, I feel like I just get into the swing of summer when all of my friends are like, oh, my homeschool room's put together, I bought all my curriculum and we're starting next week. And I get real sad. But there's just something about when those packages start coming in, I'm like, ooh, I'm real excited to kind of open those up and start organizing all the papers and get my file box system set up and get everything back on the shelf where it belongs. So just to kind of ease that a little bit, but not go full on into that yet because I'm still enjoying summer. Let's do an unboxing of all of our curriculum. So this is just the spine of our curriculum, and this does not include stuff that we have from previous years that we're using again. This also does not include all of our Sonlight books. Those are still coming, and I'll do an unboxing just with those later. So first we're going to start off with what I got at a used bookstore here in our town. This is a homeschool specific store, so it has all the curriculum. It's very hit and miss on what you can find because it just depends what's been brought in and what people have picked up already. But here's what I have so far. Okay, got this big heavy bag. Now I am missing one thing from here. I got some stuff for our co-op from here, and one of those things that is missing is the 5 in a row book that I got, which we will be using for our lower grades, which is like age 3-ish up to like age 8-ish. And so that's not in here, but I got a really good deal on that. I got this for our elementary art. I got this for only like $7.50, so that was a really good deal. And I also got this for our middle school / high school art. This is God and the History of Art. This is a really cool book that actually goes into, biblical worldview and stuff along with art. And it also came with the paint and marker cards. One thing that was missing from that was the little cards that have the actual colored paintings, like artwork that they will be looking at from famous artists. The good thing is that one of our ladies at co-op actually already has this curriculum, so she has those cards that we'll be able to use. But I'm excited to get into that. Now, my favorite thing every year that I get at our homeschool store, which has been there every single year, so I don't know who's dropping these off every year, but I thank you for it, is my oldest son's math. So this is the Saxon textbook. This is the solutions manual, and it is the tests and worksheets. Now, usually I can find those there for whatever reason unworked in, like completely clear. This one did have a few tests done, but they're done in pencil, and I'm just gonna erase them because I got all of this for $70 for all 3 books, and I can't remember how much it is to buy new, but it's well over $100. So I will gladly erase those few tests that are already worked in. And then what's great about that is then my next son just reuses the textbook and the solutions manual, obviously. And then, so the next year that he is in that, all I will have to buy is the tests and worksheets. Now, this is a package from Essentials in Writing. So this is for my 4th / 5th grader. I don't know what she would put him in, but he is going to be doing Essentials in Writing 4. And my oldest son did use this, but the way it is set up, their textbook, you write in it. So it's a textbook, but it also has like worksheet type stuff in it. So we had to get a new one of those, and we had to get a new assessment / resource book because obviously my son did the assessments in this other book. The thing is, you cannot just buy these separately from Essentials in Writing unless you have proof that you have already purchased their DVD or streaming service, because they want to make sure that you have the actual instruction, because this is a video instruction course. And so since we had that from my oldest, I just had to contact them and purchase new books from them. And here in a minute, I will show you how I ordered from Rainbow Resource all of the Essentials in Writing for my oldest son. But first, from Rainbow Resource, which I use them a lot. They're usually a little bit cheaper than Christian Book, in my opinion, for what I'm looking for. And they usually run free shipping. So this is the journal that we will need for science this next year. We're using Apologia as botany. We're using it for all my kids. This will be the last year that my oldest does science with us. He'll be moving on to his own science following this. And so there are coloring pages. There are spots to record your experiments and your activities. There are crosswords. And one of the things that my kids really learn the most from probably would be the mini books that they make, because it's, you know, cutting and gluing and stapling and all the things. And it really helps them to regurgitate kind of what they've learned, and they have to put them back into the mini books, and then they can just staple them or glue them inside of this book themselves. And so it serves as a way to kind of recap what they've learned. And then of course, to go with that, we have the actual botany textbook, which I am really excited. I tried to find this used, but because they have a newer edition, there weren't any used of the new edition at the store that I frequent. And so I had to buy this new, but that is okay. But we love Apologia. I've made a video all about why we love it, so you can check that out if you are interested. And then also from Rainbow Resource, we got our apologetics book for next year. This is also put out by Apologia, but this is What Can I Do? This is the 4th book in the What We Believe series. And so we technically didn't quite finish book 3 last year. So the beginning of this next year, we will finish off that one and then move on to this one. The last one was Who is My Neighbor? And so we learned all about, you know, when God says to love your neighbor as yourself, what does that look like and who is our neighbor? And then this talks about what we can actually do with who we are and who God is and who our neighbor is. What does that look like living it out? So I'm excited to start on this one. And that's something we do all together during our morning time. Here's my second Rainbow Resource package. And I'm just not holding the boxes up here because I don't want to get my address on there. But like I promised, this is the Essentials in Writing for 6th grade for my oldest son. Yes, he will be a 7th grader, but writing is something that he doesn't love, so we level down for that. But this comes with the textbook / worksheets kind of in there too, and the teacher handbook. And then in the middle there, I don't feel like opening it all up, is the assessment and resource book. And so he will do all this, and we have an online subscription where he will get to view the lessons online, which is really nice because his brother's is on a DVD. So one of them can be on the TV and the other one be on the computer, and they won't have to take turns on anything. Here's my last Rainbow Resource box. And like I said, all I need for my 5th grader, 4th grader, whatever, is the tests and worksheets for Saxon 6.5, because we have the textbook and the teacher's guide from previous years. And so I didn't have to spend a whole lot on him for math, which is great. Here is this has a weird feel to it. This is my 7th grader's penmanship, cursive. We just want him to keep working on that because he doesn't use it every day. So I want him to just kind of stay in the habit of being able to use it. I don't force him to do his, everyday writing in cursive, just because since writing is not one of his strong points, I don't want him to have to be focused on like making the cursive pretty and like the concepts of writing. So this will just be in his morning time work. There is a lot of like patriotic quotes in here. There are scriptures, there are hymns. I thought that would be something different and interesting to try for this year. And then we got all of our spelling from them as well from Rainbow Resource. So we've been using Spelling Workout for several years now. This is level E for my 4th grader, 5th grader, whatever you want to call them. And so it's just very simple, worksheet based, but that's how we like to do spelling. And then here is level G for my 7th grader. Has the same layout, just harder words. And then we're not doing spelling with my kindergartner this year because I'm like, let's focus on learning how to read and write before we focus on spelling. But the only thing he needed for math was his meeting book. So this is just a little tiny book where they work on patterns and they work on calendar and stuff like that, just as part of math. And then here is, there was a pom-pom in that box and that scared me. I don't know why there's pom-pom in there. I thought it was a spider. This is my kindergartner's handwriting. He has not quite finished up A Reason for Handwriting K. So he was working a level ahead. So I'm okay that he's not done with it yet, but he will finish that up and then move into this. This is technically their first grade level. But A Reason for Handwriting does a lot of scripture. And so they just practice tracing the words and writing the words and then tracing the full scripture. The Lord's blessings are our greatest wealth, Proverbs 10:22. And then they can also work on, at the end of the week, writing the scripture out themselves. So that is a little advanced for where he is right now. But like I said, toward the end of the year, or at least semester, he should be able to do that just fine. And they're using A Reason for Handwriting D for my 5th grader. I should just start saying my soon-to-be 10-year-old because that gets confusing. But same thing, just in cursive. So he does cursive, practices the words, and practices tracing the scripture, and then will write it himself on these cute little pages at the end where you can write the scripture and then color the border. And that is all from Rainbow Resource. Now on to Sonlight. I have 2 Sonlight packages. This first one there is one Sonlight book that's not a spine in here. But this is Starting Strong. It's 3 books in one of a kind, stuck like glue and never too small for God. Kids Bible studies about the Apostle Peter, about friends, and about young heroes. And so this is part of their Bible for this year for level E. So this will be mostly my older 2 working through this. And I think you actually write in this too. Yeah. So they will just work together on this. But this was something I couldn't find cheaper anywhere else. So I just went ahead and ordered it with the rest of our Sonlight stuff. And then we have these little books. This is similar to Bob Books. This is Fun Tales. This is what Sonlight uses to teach reading to kindergartners. Now we will still be using Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading as our main source for teaching my kindergartner to read because that has worked so well for us in the past, but this will definitely be a good supplement. So this is the first one, just doing CBC words, very, very easy. Bat, Pam, bats, that kind of stuff. But then by the end of the year, pretty much full on reading a quest. Quest is a pretty difficult word, but we're working with full sentences. The crab grabs Jen's bill. Help. Tex picks up a frog mug. So these should be cute little books to help us learn to read. I know a lot of people hate teaching kindergartners and first graders to learn how to read, but it's actually one of my favorite parts of homeschool. So I'd rather teach a kid to read than to potty train a kid any day. And then these are already open, so I had to take a page out to make sure I had everything I needed for them. But this is the book that goes along with these Fun Tales. And this tells you just kind of like a schedule of what to read when and kind of what to focus on each week. And then this is the spine of my kindergartner's history, Bible, literature for this upcoming year. So it's Intro to the World Cultures. So we're going to talk about different cultures. So there's going to be some geography in there. There's going to be some obviously Bible stories in there. A lot of missionary type stories and some good read alouds. We'll be reading like the Boxcar Children and one of the Laura Ingalls Wilder's books. I don't remember which one it is, but anyway, super excited for this. And then my final box, also from Sonlight, is just History, Bible, Literature for my oldest 2, which is Level E, Intro to American History, Part 2. So last year we ended, I think in the early 1800s is where it cut off. And so we will be starting early 1800s to modern history in this one. And this has also in it, one of the reasons it's so thick, is it also has the reading assignments and questions, comprehension questions for my 7th grader who will be reading the Level E read alouds, if that makes sense. And so that's why it's quite a bit of papers. We just love Sonlight. It has been the best thing for our homeschool. And I have videos on that too, if you want to talk about that. So we will get started soon, putting all these little Sonlight cores into binders and getting the pages cut off of our workbook so we can put it in our file system and all that fun stuff. But I thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have got started on setting up all your curriculum for the next school year, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.